Hey, I'm Hoopy, your host, one of them brothers from Inglewood podcast, coming to you live and direct from Sand Dune Park in the city of Manhattan Beach, Southern California, where all of the magic takes place. What am I saying? This is a very familiar area where most of the athletes in Southern California come to train and develop. This is not some form of scientific research center, but it is a laboratory. This is the place where we come to develop our skills, cardiovascular, agility, strength, and core. This is a place where most amateur, collegiate, and professional athletes in all backgrounds, in all sports, come here to enhance their skills. Now, we cover soccer players, volleyball players, basketball, football, rugby, you name it. Every athlete who's interested in developing, they come here, some during the week, some during the summers, some during certain times of the year, but they come here. Why? Because it never rains in Southern California. Okay, now, just to give you a brief synopsis of the subject, before I do, I want to ask if you'll do me a favor. Like, subscribe, share, and ring the notification button so that you'll be abreast as to every time we air an episode, because we want to be consistent. We want to be able to share information and fresh content that you'll enjoy. And don't forget to put something in the chat. Let us know what you think. Let us know about resources. Give us suggestions, tips. Give us constructive criticism. We're not here to portray that we know everything, because we're learning as well. But this is a fun journey, and I want you to continue to ride along with us. Now, as we get started, we're going to bring you the subject of development. Development. Now, development has a range of areas to improve on, okay? But I was listening to something just the other day, and it really made me want to talk about this subject, because Kevin Durant, a known Hall of Famer, soon to be Hall of Famer, but a known All-NBA player. He's been an Olympic champion. He's been an NBA champion. He's excelled in so many areas on the NBA level. And so it's not like we're discrediting Durant. I'm definitely not trying to take anything away from him. We're all entitled to our opinion. But when he made the statement that Kyrie Irving was or is better than Allen Iverson, I said, whoa, I think his statement after that was that Kyrie Irving is probably the most skilled player, yet alone guard, that we've ever seen on any level of basketball. Now, I like Kyrie Irving. I think Kyrie Irving is a spectacular talent, a superior talent, an elite talent. And I get it. His skill level is through the roof. No one can deny that. At least no one with good sense can deny that. I just have a problem with Iverson, number one, playing in a different era, but also being a talent of his own, an extraordinaire, doing the things that he did individually. I know he didn't have a lot of success as winning championships. I know that he didn't portray outstanding leadership. But when you're talking about pound for pound talent and pound for pound ability, I think Allen Iverson was better. I think Allen Iverson was better because of this. We know that Allen Iverson excelled in 2 sports in high school. He was an all-star. He was an all-state player at quarterback as well as in basketball. He was the number one basketball player in the class of 1994 before he got into trouble and eventually was incarcerated. He was the number one player in that class. It wasn't Felipe Lopez. Felipe Lopez got the number one ranking after Allen Iverson went to jail. That last year when they were in Nike camp and the other guys were in ABCD camp, Allen Iverson was deemed the number one player in the 1994 class, which was also loaded. You had Ricky Price, you had Reed, who went to University of Arkansas, and so you had a slew of players. You had Tremaine Folks in that class, you had Christian Johnson, you had so many talented players in the class of 94. Toby Bailey, a local kid as well, he was in that class. So it was a very, very top-heavy class. And I'm not comparing the high school to college or college to the pros. I am saying that we haven't seen that type of talent and scoring ability at guard in a long time. We probably hadn't seen that type of display of scoring since Nate Tiny Archibald. So my question to you is, who do you think was better, Kyrie Irving or Allen Iverson? Of course, in their prime, when these guys were really going strong and these guys really had the momentum, who was better? I'll tell you another reason why I think Allen Iverson was better. Allen Iverson was not known for training, developing, dedication, commitment to his craft. Allen Iverson had a lot of setbacks in his life. I believe because he wasn't disciplined. He wasn't a disciplined athlete all around. Now, when the lights went on, when he was between the lines, he was an absolute terror. No one worked harder than him. No one gave the effort that he gave. I don't know why it didn't translate into preparation, working out and training and developing. I don't know. Only Allen Iverson really knows. But Allen Iverson failed himself, first and foremost. He failed himself as being better than he actually was by not committing. Now, Kyrie Irving, he has it by a landslide. Kyrie Irving works on his craft. He practices. He works on his skill level. He develops. It shows. You can tell that Kyrie Irving works at what he does. I wouldn't say Kyrie Irving is a natural. I won't say that he is a prodigy. It's only a few guys that you can truly say are prodigies. Michael Jordan, prodigy. He just had the work ethic and all the other intangibles to go along with it. But Michael Jordan was a special human being, and he was a prodigy. LeBron James, I know a lot of people don't like him. I like LeBron James. I think LeBron James is the greatest player in his era. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time, and arguably he can be deemed as the greatest player to ever pick up a basketball. But I say that LeBron James is a prodigy, number one, because of his ability, because of his size, because of his skill, because of his work ethic, because of his focus, because of his ability to stay disciplined, not only in sports, but off the court. He's a great husband. He's a great father. He's a great community person. He doesn't have scandals behind his name. He doesn't have all of these slip-ups and these shortcomings that so many great athletes have experienced. Now, does that make him better than anyone else? No, it doesn't make him better. It just makes him, it sets him apart from the status quo. I believe LeBron James is just a special, elite human being altogether. And then you have people like, I would say, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is a prodigy. The things that he was able to do at 6 foot, soaking wet. He only weighed about 160 pounds, maybe 165. He did not take care of his body. He used alcohol. He smoked weed. He stayed up late at night. He ran the streets. He was just not disciplined as a professional. He wasn't the professional that he needed to be, because I believe if he would have had that missing component, we wouldn't even have this conversation. We would not be talking about Allen Iverson in comparison to other guards, especially at point guard. The other prodigy I really believe who came on the scene was obviously someone like Bill Russell. Bill Russell, he wasn't the most spectacular, skilled individual that many people would compare him to be, but you just don't win the way he won on all levels. He won in high school, he won in college, he won in the Olympics, he won in the pros. Bill Russell had an ability to make his teammates better. He had the ability to motivate them, to lead them. And so these are the things that I really believe that really makes up greatness. Not to get far away from the question at hand, which is Allen Iverson better than Kyrie Irving and vice versa? I still believe that it takes a lot of development. It takes a lot of will to be the greatest that you can possibly be. Now, in the backdrop, right behind me, the sand dune, where so many guys from Southern Cal as well as across the country come here to train. Why? Because they found out that this is one of the greatest forms of resistance training. Running in the sand, running hills, running backwards, running across different terrains. It is a form of resistance training. This will enhance your core, your muscle, your tendons. This will actually increase your cardiovascular system. It will help you become the elite talent that you ultimately want to be. Now, does training and developing from a physical and cardiovascular standpoint make you the greatest? No, but it's a huge part of your development. And so I'm just going to name a few guys that I know for sure who's come here over the years. Yes, I'm one of those guys. I'm not a pro. I'm not a Hall of Famer. I'm not this elite talent. I'm an older man now. But these are areas where I came to also enhance my skill, to develop, to get an edge. This was a way to get an edge. Conditioning, to all you young people that are watching this, that are listening to this, that are viewing this, developing your condition or your cardiovascular, that is going to take you way further than the competition. It is the one who's in the best shape, who will last the longest, who has the stamina, that will overcome in the end. And so with that being said, I'm going to mention just a few names who has come here. I don't know because some of these guys are still, in their careers, and they're late in their careers. They're getting older now. So some of the training that they were probably doing in the beginning and in the middle of their careers, they may not have to do as much anymore. But I know Hall of Famer Paul Pierce, who's also a local guy, Inglewood native, he would come here and often train with his teammate, also Jason Crow Sr., who is a former professional athlete who's now coaching and training and developing. And I'm sure he's brought his son, Jason Crow Jr., here to develop as well, because they're big conditioning guys. And so they really believe in the work in the laboratory. And so those are two guys that I know would come here. Jason Hart Sr., he would come here. I know he would bring his younger sons here, Justin and Jason Jr. So they were guys that were like a mainstay. Russell Westbrook, this guy, I think they should name the park after Russell Westbrook. He put in so much time here, so much dedication, He's such a hard worker. I've seen him in the laboratory. I've seen him in high school. I've seen the kind of work that Russell Westbrook puts in. A lot of people don't give this young man credit. They want to take away things from him. But I'm confident that he knows that he's put the work in. And I just think he's always been a great talent, a great player, and it has proven to be so to this day. Who else have come? The track and field athletes have come here for many years. I remember way back in the, I'm dating myself, but way back in the late 80s, early 90s, Olympian gold medalist Valerie Briscoe Hooks would come here and train with her colleagues and her teammates. And so I know that resistance training is a huge component to all of our development, especially as athletes. So those are just a few that I can name who has come here and still come here to this day, especially the younger athletes. I know that a lot of the NBA agents and the NFL agents bring their trainers here to help some of their kids, not so much kids, but some of the young people develop from a cardiovascular and core development aspect. But it still behooves me to think that Allen Iverson would not be considered, if not the best, one of the greatest basketball players to ever play that was under 6'2". And I say 6'2" because most people don't really realize that those are not really tall people. When you're talking about basketball, you're talking about a game that's really most suitable for the guy that's closest to the basket, a big person. And normally you're not, and who am I to say? I'm only 5'11", but you're not usually going to pass the eye test if you're not 6'4" and above. I think 6'4" is an obvious tall person. I've stood up against guys that was 6'5", 6'4", 6'3", 6'2", and on. I've stood up to guys that were 6'10", 7 foot, and it's a big difference when you get to that 6'4" and above range. It's like apples and oranges. Most of these guys and these young women, they have long arms, they have big hands, they have big feet, they have either a short upper torso or a long lower torso. But at the end of the day, tall is tall. And Allen Iverson is not tall. I met Allen Iverson in person. I've been next to him. I've seen him, and he is not a big person, but he was a tremendous talent. Watching him compete in the NBA and knowing what he was going up against every night. This guy was going up against elite guards, and most of the time they would stick the shooting guard on him. They would put a bigger guard on him so that he would not only score from the perimeter, but that he would have a more difficult chance of shooting jump shots. He was so fast and so quick, he can get around anybody, but to put a bigger person on him was better because he wasn't able to just, shoot over these people. He was forced to go around them where the help was. You got to understand, it's not like he was a huge physical specimen. He was a small guy that can really put it in the basket, and he played hard. He played on both ends of the floor. Kyrie Irving doesn't play defense. Kyrie Irving is not known for stopping anybody. Now, thank goodness guys are not scoring the same 40 points that he's scoring on them, but at the end of the day, you're not going to put Kyrie Irving on a really potent scoring guard and expect him to make that play. Now, you can do that with Allen Iverson. You can put Allen Iverson on one of the better scoring guards, and Allen Iverson will make it more difficult for that guard than Kyrie Irving ever would. Now, this is just my opinion. It's not set in gold. I don't know everything, but I played basketball. I played against bigger guards, smaller guards. I know and understand what's in front of me. I do know and understand where a guy has just an arsenal of moves and weaponries that he can go to or she can go to get a basket. Kyrie Irving has that. I don't believe that Kyrie Irving has any difficulties putting the ball in the basket. He can get to where he wants to go whenever he wants to go, and that's usually just the bottom line. But Allen Iverson he was just a whole different beast. He was a whole different animal because he not only had an array of ways to score, he really narrowed his moves down to 2 or 3 moves that nobody could stop. It's proven. I mean, the guy had a crossover that was so deadly and so potent that the NBA referees or the NBA deemed it illegal. They called carrying or traveling every time thereafter because they saw how effective his move was. Now, am I saying that just that one move makes him better than Kyrie Irving? No, I'm not saying that one move makes him better than Kyrie Irving. I just think the entire body of work when it comes to scoring the basketball, when it comes to getting a bucket when you need one, I just don't think that there were too many guys better than Allen Iverson, especially at guard. Now, you gotta gap Michael Jordan in because he was a guard as well, and he was a shooting guard. They put Allen Iverson at shooting guard at different stages of his career, and so did Cleveland. They put Kyrie Irving at shooting guard when LeBron James took over at the point guard. So we know that these two players are interchangeable. And so let's compare them as it relates to their body of work, how they executed their abilities or things that they did on the court. Let's base it on that. Some people will base it on statistics. Well, Allen Iverson never won a championship. No. He never won a gold medal in the Olympics. No. He's never won a championship in college. No. So yeah, when you look at statistics, you got to look at it holistically. You got to look at it in a sense as it relates to what did they win? Did they win any titles? We know that Kyrie Irving has a single title with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was a great component and asset to that group. I don't believe that they would have won the championship without him. I do believe that LeBron James was the nucleus of that team, of that run, but they would have never won it without Kyrie Irving. So there it is there. I admit that. But Cleveland would have never gotten to, not Cleveland, I'm sorry. The Philadelphia 76ers probably would have never remained relevant if Allen Iverson wasn't on their team. Allen Iverson actually was a huge part of their success. He made them relevant again because, we remember Charles Barkley and Dr. J. When you think of the 76ers, you think of Julius Erving, Moses Malone, Dr. J, even Bobby Jones. You think of some of the older players that were like dominant in their era. So Allen Iverson made Philadelphia relevant again. And he was the smallest man on the court. He was the smallest man in their program, and he made that thing happen. So I'm going to end this and bring this episode to a stop so that you can add something to the chat, that you will put something in there helping us develop better content, more information. And hey, maybe you all have some clips, you might have some articles, you might have information that states that Kyrie Irving was a better player than Allen Iverson. We'd love to see it. We'd love to have it. We'd love to, comment on it, because it's not like I'm saying that, everything that I'm saying is, deemed in gold. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying this is my opinion. I don't believe Kyrie Irving is better than Allen Iverson for the simple fact that Allen Iverson dominated basketball in his era, and he did not fully commit to training. You haven't seen any footage of Allen Iverson in a gym with a trainer, with other players actually training. I haven't seen the footage. If you have the footage, please send it to us. We would love to look at it, review it. I'd be the first one to apologize. I'm just saying, I never seen any footage of Allen Iverson practicing or training to develop his skill. He even said it. You guys remember, and I know I said I was going to stop, but you remember when he had the press conference and they were giving him a hard time about actually not practicing. And he kept saying the word practice over and over again. But he told us, he said, listen, I have a gift. God gave me a gift. I'm good, man. It has nothing to do with practice. And that's what he stood on. That's what he believed. And so maybe that was an excuse as to why he wasn't developing off the court and committing himself to team practice and getting better. He wasn't known for lifting weights. He would always get hurt, get nicked up, but he would play hurt. See, this is the thing. Kyrie Irving's career has really been plagued with injuries. Allen Iverson was not only smaller, he was tougher. He would play through injuries. He would play injured. He would be on the injury report and still play. That's the difference. So I think his mental toughness was great in that aspect, just as Kyrie Irving's mental toughness was great as it related to training and developing. That's all I'm saying. So overall, my pick is Allen Iverson. I'm curious to know how you feel about this. And let me say again, like, subscribe, share, ring the notification button. We'll be so happy to continue this journey with you. Tell someone, help us to monetize and get the word out so people can see this fresh and new content. Sand Dune Park, Manhattan Beach, California. Sun is out. I think I'm going to go and have some lunch and take it easy. Peace.